folks, I'm Mick van Zyl from Ironman 4x4. One of the most important considerations for any serious overlanding rig like this is fuel. When you're traveling long distances, and especially when you're traveling in neighbouring countries, fuel can become an issue. Even though the map says there is a fuel station, it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be fuel at that fuel station. So serious overlanders take additional fuel along, and there's a couple of ways in which you can do that. One of the most popular and probably easiest way to do it is to use jerry cans. Jerry cans typically hold 20 litres of fuel, so 2 or 4 jerry cans along will give you 40 or 80 litres of additional fuel. Now, while jerry cans seem like an easy solution, there are a couple of issues to contend with. Firstly, jerry cans are normally carried on the roof of the vehicle. That means that you're putting that weight quite high up on the vehicle, and it does affect your centre of gravity and the way the vehicle handles when you're off-roading. The other issue that you have is decanting that fuel back into the main tank of the vehicle. Can be messy. You've got to get up there and get the jerry cans down, so it's not really the best option. Here at Ironman 4x4, we prefer to use an auxiliary fuel tank system. And basically it is an additional fuel tank fitted to the underneath of the vehicle. It is connected to the main tank by means of fuel lines. It also has breather pipes that ensure that you don't have any airlocks when you are filling up. It sits just above the spare wheel, and it actually is shaped to take up some of the empty unused space between the chassis members, and you end up with a spare wheel that is then hoisted up underneath that auxiliary tank. It does drop your spare wheel down by about 5 centimeters, but with the suspension lift on most of the vehicles we find that it doesn't actually affect your departure angle at all. The auxiliary fuel tank is filled up at the same time as the main tank. So when at the fuel station, it's the normal procedure of just putting fuel into the filler neck of the vehicle. It has an additional pipe that goes down to fill the auxiliary tank. Another important thing to note is that your fuel gauge will only register the fuel level in your main tank. When you pull away from the fuel station with both of these tanks full, your vehicle will, as per normal, start using fuel out of the main tank, and as that level starts dropping, fuel is then supplemented into the main tank from the auxiliary tank. So your fuel gauge is only going to register a drop in fuel level when the auxiliary tank is empty. So that's a really nice feature. You know when your fuel gauge starts dropping that your auxiliary tank is pretty much empty, and you're now on your main tank, which you know is 80 litres or whatever it is in the vehicle. It's important to have these tanks fitted by a reputable workshop. You don't want to have any leaks. And another thing is your breather system needs to be set up properly so that you can actually use the full capacity of the auxiliary tank. A badly installed breather system will not allow you to fill the tank totally, and it'll be actually wasted money and effort. So without further ado, let's get the chaps back into the workshop here and get this tank fitted up.